but by the end of that night, Steve had actually talked Rod Smallwood out of managing Storm Zone because he said that he wanted to do it. You know, but I always remember going back and getting up with the following morning and looking around their room, and there's Rod Smallwood lying sleeping. Some other, I don't know, some guys from Thunder, some guys from, and I saw this white stuff all over the floor, and I'm going, for fuck's sake, I mean, that's one thing that I wasn't into. So I went over and shook Steve and went, we're going to have to get this cleared up, mate, because, what if the place is raided, and there's all these famous people here, and there's all that all over the floor. He says, what? And I went, look. And he went, it's all right. He says, we spilt wine when you went to bed. That's salt. all over the thing. But, so that, and then I came home but anyway, there are more stories that I'm only like halfway through, whatever. And by the way, that night, I always remember, I'll never forget it to the day of the day. The Saxon and Steve Strange thing in 1990 had, that was like a brief thing. So nobody actually kind of, they had parted ways, and I don't think even in those days, those early days, they had actually met. So the photographer at the Classic Rock Awards was doing the, you had the classic rock background, and then you stood in front of it and the official photographer. So the Saxon boys all grabbed me, and brought me in amongst them. And I was standing there, I don't know what, because I was nothing, I was like, you know what I mean? But everybody thought that I was something for some reason. So, but they didn't know, I could have said that I was anything, sort of thing. So then Biff, the Saxon singer, had seen me, obviously, that I was with Steve, and he says, who is that guy? And I went, that's Steve Strange, he's a really, really good friend of mine. And Biff says, yeah, he was at a Saxon show about 3 weeks ago, but I was down with a cold or whatever, and I was really irritable. So he came backstage, and I told him to fuck off. And I went, you told Steve Strange to fuck off? And he went, yeah, but I was really, I said, do you know who he is? And he went, just that I've seen him before, he does look familiar. I said, he's one of the fucking biggest agents that there is in the world right now, and this was even before he became even bigger, and I rhymed off the artist that Steve was looking, and I said, I am actually here as a guest of Steve, who has been invited, personally by the Classic Rock Awards, as as a very important person. Steve Strange is the VIP. And Biff, I saw his face going white, and he went, oh my God, can you excuse me a minute? And he went down, and he went, and I saw him having the conversation with Steve. And after, I don't know, we went and had our dinner and champagne and everything, and then Biff, and I saw him and Biff then later on sort of laughing or whatever. And Steve said, yeah, I've just signed them, and I'm going, you did? Very good. I said, because that could have went another way, and and there's actually a documentary on YouTube. It's a Saxon documentary. It's what, I can't even remember the name of the guy. You call him Goldstein or something or whatever. He's this big Harvey Gold. No, not Harvey Goldstein. And then I can't remember. Is it Harvey Goldstein? He's this big guy anyway. This big music guy over in England, and he was taking bands and he was trying to take them from obscurity after they've been really famous, going down to bring them back up again. And so this documentary was showing the rise, then the fall, then the rise again of Saxon. But part of the footage is of the Classic Rock Awards that I was at with Steve and Biff and Alice Cooper and stuff. And when you're looking down on the crowd, there I am. Now I'm not waving. I'm actually in because I didn't know the camera was on. But you know I was gonna say more, but I've spoken too much, already about the one subject, and I've got so much more to say. So I think I'm gonna do this in two halves rather than sort of try and squeeze everything in into this. But I hope that even if you're not, sort of into rock music or whatever, that you do find things like this interesting because, for me, I mean that's a nail where a painting is about to hang, but in circumstances like that, that's a fly on the wall, and that's what I was, and I could see and experience and talk to people, and they would open up to me because the thought that that I was as important as Steve, and God love him, he never ever once sort of turned around and went no, he's just a guest or whatever. He never he was actually bringing me round these people, and proudly sort of introducing me to Dio, to Bruce Dickinson, to Dallas Cooper and David Coverdale. I mean, he was really happy to do that, and if he ever disappeared off, he would always come back and get me, because he would sometimes see me standing there with a glass of champagne going, and he would, as soon as he bang straight over, and bring me somewhere else. But that I'll leave that to it's totally off the cuff. Tomorrow night I'll talk about the second half, because there were a load of things that's basically just an introduction, and there are funnier things and crazy things that happen afterwards that I know that you'll, even if you're not into sort of heavy rock music, you will be invested in, because they're really really interesting. So I'll leave that for tonight, okay? And please tune in tomorrow night, and maybe it might even be on TikTok tomorrow night. I might even be John of Thrones might be set up, but I'm gonna be here anyway, and I'll do part two of this from the Classic Rock Awards up to the present day. Okay, so thanks very much for listening in and hearing me ramble on about experiences, and there are many more to come. Okay, so have a nice Friday. I will see you tonight, which will probably be Saturday morning or whatever. Okay, all the best. I love you all.